Hi, everybody. How's it going? This is Loren Baker with Search Engine Journal. If you see me and hear me correctly, could you please write something in the chat or question box below?
You look great, Laura.
Thank you. All right. So, today I'm coming to you as not only the founder of Search Engine Journal, but also on behalf of my agency. So today we're going to be discussing SEO and content, how to build more than just links. So a lot of what I read out there, especially in the SEO world, is looking at things about how to build content in order to get links back to your site to help with SEO, which to me is one of the core foundations of content marketing. But also, if you're looking at content as just a way to get links, you're really short-sighting yourself. So what I'm going to go into today is not only how to get more than just links from the content that you're building, but also how to kind of rethink the way that you look at link acquisition and content marketing. But first, a little bit about myself. So if you don't know me, my name is Loren Baker. I'm the founder of Search Engine Journal. So I started Search Engine Journal as a content marketing experiment, more or less, in 2003. So what is that? 14 years ago. So basically, SEJ was a blog that I started to share my thoughts and reporting on the search engine industry. But I have been digital marketing since 1998. So before I got into SEO, I was also a digital marketer / ad buyer / whatever you needed to do back then to get targeted traffic to your site in order to drive revenue, really. So essentially, as I've gone from digital marketing in terms of digital PR, ad buying, just relationship building, audience building into SEO, and then how SEO from there has become more of an overall digital marketing concept. I've taken a lot of the traits and strategies that I did early on and have kind of evolved them over the years. So I'm going to go into that a little bit as well. And like I said, I'm also the co-founder of Foundation Digital. I'll go in a little bit more into our agency, what we do throughout the course of this presentation. And if you'd like to learn more about what we do afterwards, just let me know in the poll, and I'll send you some info on that. And if you haven't had a chance to do so, please follow me at Loren Baker. So before I get started, I'm kind of wearing two hats here. I'm moderating and presenting. Let me get into some of the housekeeping here at Search Engine Journal. So just to let everyone know, our official hashtag for the SEJ Marketing Think Tank is hashtag SEJ Think Tank. Also, typically our webinars are a 30 to 40 minute presentation with Q&A at the end. So as you have questions that come up over the course of this webinar, please feel free to add them in the question box, which you'll see on your GoToWebinar control panel. And we'll take the chance to answer them accordingly. Also, we'll be launching a couple of polls, which I alluded to earlier during the case of this webinar. By filling out the polls, you give the presenter, me, a little bit more information about yourself and the audience, and I can help craft my presentation accordingly. And at the end of the Q&A session today, we're going to have a quick survey for you to fill out as well. So if you're attending right now and you want to tell your friends on Twitter, again, it's hashtag SEJ Think Tank, or go ahead and follow me, because I'm always sharing really cute pictures of my kids or SEO tactics and strategies on Twitter. So go ahead and do that now. So Foundation Digital. Foundation Digital is an agency, a boutique digital marketing agency that I launched with my partner, Greg Bozer, almost 5 years ago. We're based in the Los Angeles area, and we focus on SEO, content strategy, content marketing, blogging, WordPress development, WordPress hosting, et cetera, et cetera. With some of our clients, we handle everything across the board. So we power their website, host a website, take care of the leads, do all their content marketing, all their SEO, et cetera, et cetera. In some of them we do various different things here and there. So you'll see some of the examples of our work during this presentation. One thing I'm very proud of is that we're also an award-winning agency. So over the course of the past 2 or 3 years, we've won various awards in not only SEO. This year we took home 2 US Search Awards and 2 Drum Search Awards on behalf of the work done with our group of clients. But we've also won various awards in the public relations field as well, which kind of gets me into the whole, hey, this is not just for SEO, there's also other benefit beyond this. So always happy to share that. Again, what we're going to learn about today essentially is going to be the transition of SEO, content marketing to digital content marketing. It's really thinking more about what you can do for your clients and your company with the content that you've been given the budget or the permission or the ideas to provide. So it's just getting more than links, it's thinking about more than that. It's also not setting yourself up for failure. One thing that I've seen a lot of over time, and if I've experienced myself, is that not all content marketing works. And one of the things that helps set you up for failure from a content marketing perspective is if you only have one goal, right? So as you're building your strategy, if you're saying, hey, this content marketing is specifically going to get me X amount of links, and you don't get that for yourself or maybe for your client, but at the same time, you've noticed that the influencers you've reached out to have tweeted about the content or shared it on social media, and that's not one of your goal-driven KPIs, then that's a fail in terms of KPIs, but it's a win in terms of marketing, right? So really, how can you set up your campaigns to make sure that you're essentially getting wins all over the place? Also, I'll tread lightly here, but reinvesting link vendor efforts into content and inbound marketing efforts. So some companies have a lot of budget that they put into link building, whether that's producing content for other sites or whatever it may be, or paying companies to get links for them. But sometimes by reinvesting that into a strategic inbound marketing or content marketing campaign, you're going to get more than just the links by themselves. And quite frankly, you're going to get more than links that all your competitors are getting from the same sites all the time anyway. So just looking at ways to reinvest and launch an inbound content marketing campaign within your company. And then again, also ways to squeeze more value out of your content marketing efforts. But before we get rolling, I'd like to launch our first poll. So Jess, if you could take care of that.
On it.
Thank you.
Launch poll.
All right. So what is your #1 success metric with content marketing? Please select one of the following. 1, links for SEO. 2, social shares. 3, to get press mentions or blog mentions. Or 4, other. I also have impress your boss on the slide share, but not on the poll. So you don't have to fill out that one. But if you could take the time to fill these out, that would be fantastic. What are we at now, Jess, from a percentage standpoint?
We've got about 70% voted. Maybe give a couple more seconds. We'll hit 75%. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. I'll close it.
All right. Excellent. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And can you share the results? All right, great. So it looks like the bulk of you are looking at content as an effort to drive links. A lot of you, your main goal is social shares, which is really interesting to me because being that this is search engine journal, right? We write mostly about search engines and SEO. So the fact that you're looking at sharing, almost a quarter of you, first is cool. Press and blog mentions, it's very link oriented, but also there's value in getting your company mentioned and not getting a link, right? And then also other. So I'll continue on if you'd like to close the poll now. And I think I have a good grasp of what everyone's looking for. Awesome. Okay, first I'm going to start out with the types of content and viral campaigns that I like to do. I'm going to go into some of the client examples that I have and also some examples from Search Engine Journal and some cool stuff I've just seen out there on the internet. kind of run through. So first of all is blog content examples. As I said, we're a company that we power a lot of the blogs for our clients, not only in an effort to produce content that's going to get linked to, but also in an effort to have content on that page that's going to rank in Google. That's the flip side of it. It's not just about getting links, but also when I see that content ranks, it lives on its own legs, it stands on its own legs, and it gets its own links over time, right? So my goal at the end of the day is to not only produce the kind of content that's going to get links built to it, but to also make sure that that content over time people are going to find and reference and link to, et cetera, et cetera. So here are two examples of that. Also, we do persona targeted content marketing. So it's not just about developing content that's going to rank or get links from an SEO perspective. It's also about developing content that people are looking for based upon where they are in their lives. So in this example, you have a couple that's looking, this is for an apartment rental company that we work with, a couple that's looking to move into their space and cohabitat for the first time, and is it right for them to do so? And we get a lot of queries on Google about things that are lifestyle oriented, and this kind of content works well with social. To the right is kind of a not as happy oriented post, but it serves a purpose. Renting an apartment after a felony conviction. Can I rent an apartment as a felon? It's a very, very popular question. And in this case, with this client, their customer service and help desk gets questions about this all the time. Also has to be a very, very popular search trend in Google from a traffic perspective. So again, not only from a content perspective do you want to create things that are getting links to it, but you're also going to create things that answer questions. Now, how does this help beyond SEO? Well, with this company and other companies that we work with, when we're producing content that answers a question that they're getting not just from search, but they're also getting at their customer service and help desk, if we can equip their customer service team with the ability to share this content and send it over to that person asking that question, not only does it answer the question, but it also gets them back into the brand, right? So they might be going out and mailing or filling out help tickets on 10 different apartment sites asking this question. If we can be one of the first ones to get back to them with this robust answer and tips and what to do, then there's a higher chance that they're going to convert into a lead. So again, it's not just about links and SEO, but what else can we do with this content besides that? We also do a lot of holiday and seasonal content. So this is a great example of that, especially right now, leading in the holiday season. So this is a piece that we did for, actually back in 2014, we did the first piece for one of my clients in the online couponing and commerce field. And so what we did was we put together basically a timeline of, at the time, it was the past 30 years, I believe. So it was basically the scarcest toys or hardest to find toys for every Christmas season over the past 30 years. So why do you want to do only 30 years? Well, one, because their bulk customer base is a little bit younger, skews younger. And two, because there's like a sentimental feel to this, right? So, and a retro feel, like retro stuff works really well in media. So what we did was we put together this infographic. And one of the biggest mistakes I see in seasonal content marketing, or just seasonal marketing in general, is companies tend to routinely reinvent the wheel, right? So you'll see a site that has a guide for best places to Christmas shop in 2014. And then the next year they do the same thing for 2015. And the next year they do the same thing for 2017, et cetera, et cetera. And what happens is they're essentially diluting that equity into 4 or 5 different URLs, which all may be able to attract traffic, which we all know helps at the end of the day with ranking, and attracts links, but that's all diluted and segmented, right? What I like to do, and what Google prefers, especially with anything from seasonal to event, think of the Super Bowl or the big game or the World Series or World Cup, is by reutilizing that main landing page over and over again, you're essentially driving more value, links, audience, et cetera, to the same URL, right? So you're routinely building more and more and more value to that specific landing page and helping it rank. So what's happened with this specific piece of content is that we update this every year. Last year we added Hatchimals. This year we added fingerlings. If you don't know what a fingerling is, it's a little monkey you put on your finger and it talks to you. It's amazing, but it's one of the hardest toys and one of the most popular toys, hardest to find toys and most popular toys this year. So what happens is this individual piece, we did a lot of PR and outreach for when it first launched. And when it first launched, we got some great pickup on sites like the Penny Hoarder, Huffington Post, or even the Spanish version of Huffington Post. But then what we noticed was that in the second year it was out there, it was starting to get its own natural pickup. So in 2016, we saw that Business Insider picked up that post on their own. Why? Because the previous years, we had gotten it featured on multiple different sites that were authority sites. We did a really robust outreach campaign. It was featured on MTV News. It was featured on multiple different news channels, et cetera, which all linked back to that piece. So by the time the second year came around, most of the pickup that you see right here to the right upper right-hand side, that piece was already ranking for most popular toys for Christmas. And what happened is the press and bloggers pick it up on their own, right? Sometimes we'll do a little bit of an extra push when we update it, but most of this is from natural pickup that happens after the fact. So that reinforces my point. By adding routinely to your holiday content every year or your event-oriented content every year, you're boosting the value of that one piece of content, which means that it's going to climb up the Google results. And when people start searching for that, while they're putting together the content plans for that event as it happens the next year, they're going to find what you did the previous year with more updated information. So again, don't reinvent the wheel, add to the content that you already have. Make the content that you already have better. It leads to less cannibalization, and it leads to really benefit across the board. Also, if you're more so in B2B and you're doing industry vertical oriented content like that's useful to people that are out there on the field checking electrical things, content for small business owners, content for folks in that are making healthcare IT oriented decisions. You might think of that as being boring content, but at the end of the day, B2B content is what we do at SEJ all the time. Search Engine Journal is one of the largest internet marketing publications out there on the web, and we do B2B. So what I like to do when I'm working on my clients, and I have, I guess the privilege of doing so, is taking ideas that we have, kind of testing them or launching them or getting feedback on them from the SEJ side of things, learning from that, and then applying it to B2B oriented industries that I work with on the agency side. So here are some use cases for industry related content you can use in the sales process. So just like that example where the apartment company is sending the information to the person asking the question, the content that you're putting together for your blog, your industry specific blog, if you have someone out there on your sales team, or say your sales floor is specifically targeting, I don't know, people that work on solar panels, then you can send them this information while they're making that purchasing decision to utilize you as a vendor. Why? Well, because you're going to teach them, you're going to stick in their brains for a long time, and you're not going to have to prove yourself because you already have your content. So by producing this content and becoming an influencer in your own industry, you can then better close sales. What I don't like to see is content just put on a blog and it's set it and forget it, right? So you put it on your blog and you forget about it, and it's not used by various other aspects of the company. So if your sales team can utilize the content that you write that's targeted for a specific audience that they're trying to sell, all the better. And this is really where sales and marketing comes together. And if you're a content provider or you're an agency, it makes you more important for your client, right? So you're not just necessarily working on SEO goals for your client anymore, but you're ingrained with the overall process. So that sale may have not originated from SEO or originated from that content, but your content played an assist in getting that sale, and that's a value. The next is use in segmented emails for vertical outreach. So I'll just be really quick here. It's the same idea, but if someone has an email nurturing system, kind of like what we do with our newsletters or whatnot, or our ebooks, when you download an ebook from SEJ, you get an email from me and an email from the writer, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing, if someone signs up for your company email, right? Nurture them with great content that's already been proven to work with SEO and with social. So you can do that. And again, make sure it's just part of a solution. If you're using something like iContact, MailChimp, whatever it may be, they all have nurturing processes, Aweber, et cetera, et cetera. So how can you take that content again that helps you out on the SEO side and apply that to what you're doing to help drive those sales or just make people happy at the end of the day? Outreach to industry-specific publications. This is what we all do from an SEO perspective, right? What I want to do is, if I'm working on this is for a company that they do like in the field form devices. So they can send so salespeople or electricians can send information back to, I guess, the office, et cetera, et cetera. So if I'm reaching out and trying to get links, yeah, I'm going to go for the big boys like the Huffington Post of the world, or it could be argued that that's not, but you know what I mean. So like the big publications out there, maybe the Entrepreneur, maybe whatever it may be. But also, what's probably more important is to look at all of the industry publications that cover the utilities industry, right? Because this information and this post may lead to a link from one of those sites, or maybe even the ability to guest contribute for one of those sites, and social media targeting. So as we know, Facebook campaigns and campaigns that you do on social media are really dependent upon the content that you're putting out there. So please make sure that your content is utilized in your social media campaigns. But don't just stop at blogging, right? So you have the blog posts, and we really learned this on the SEJ side of things over the past year or so, after 13 years of publishing, is we have this library of great material, but how else can it be repackaged at the end of the day to get benefit not only for ourselves, but for our readers, and make sure that that material is routinely updated? So what we've done, and we actually did this about 3 years ago, I believe, was we put together the complete guide to SEO, SEO basics, et cetera, et cetera. And at first, we had our writers at SEJ produce a lot of content for this, but then also every year we update these posts to make sure the content in it is evergreen and relevant, right? So, okay, so all these posts may live on our blog, but we've put together a nice landing page, table of contents, et cetera, where people can link to this guide, find this guide. It's free information, and it helps us from the end of the day with being an influencer, with getting links. And I've seen this in clients' onboarding material, which is really cool, without even asking them to do so. Also, if you're taking the time to write all these blog posts and put them together, why not turn them into an ebook or a white paper? So we've done a lot of link building posts over the years at SEJ. And one thing that we did was Anna Crow on our team put together the illustrated guide to link building, which is some of the best link building tactics and tips out there available for free download. But in order to download it, as you see here, someone has to fill in their information. Why? Because we want to get something for our efforts, right? So what can you learn from this? Well, if you're running a B2B blog, or if you're running even a consumer-oriented blog, you can utilize the post that you've put together to form your own ebook and put it out there for downloading to make your audience even happier, more engaged, and more just loyal to your brand. On top of that, on SEJ, we'll do an exit intent pop-up, right, with the ability to download all of our ebooks for free. So we've done multiple ebooks over the year. What works in content marketing, SEO 101, social media strategy, and the illustrated guide to link building, which you saw on the previous page. So we pretty much almost have a bookshelf of material. The next step in that process, and something that I'm working on currently, is to take those ebooks and turn them into real books. So if you're familiar with Amazon and Amazon Kindle, Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, about 2 or 3 years ago, launched the ability to not only take your ebooks and publish them on Kindle, but to also publish paperback books that are available in the Amazon store, right? So just think about this for a second. You've written a ton of content. You've taken that content and turned it into an ebook that is useful to your readers. So you have an ebook, you have the files. Why not upload that to Amazon, and which is free, I believe, at the end of the day, and put your ebook on Kindle and have the ability for, I think it's $3.88 to send a paperback version of that book to yourself, to your staff, and your potential clients, right? We've all been to conferences where we've seen people like, waving their books around. That's fine, whatever. But if I can take the information that I've compiled through research on my site or my client site, so my clients can do this and turn it into a real book, that can be something that's useful for them internally. It's a win for me, and it's a win to help them convert someone in the future. So just keep that in mind. And then you might ask me, does this work outside of SEJ? Yes, it does. One of the sites that I work with, iContact, full disclosure, I mentioned them previously, has a great holiday marketing headquarters, which is highly marketed over this time of year. And it's almost the same concept as the guide to SEO. So it's basically lots of holiday-oriented content that's been put into an incredible landing page, which is a great user experience, and it helps people find what they're looking for to prepare for marketing for the holiday season. At the same time, another company that we work with, that's part of one of the awards that we just won recently, is we put together a senior discount guide for things like restaurants, movies, where to get free coffee if you're a senior, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing that we really found from this site is that we get a lot of their audience writes them asking, hey, these infographics that you do are great, and these posts that you do are fantastic, but can you put them into a printable format that we can take with us? So we've turned this into a PDF printable that their audience can just download on their printer and print out and take with them when they go traveling or they go somewhere. It's almost like grandma using a printed version of MapQuest to find out where she's going. It's that same mindset, and it works wonderful, and it gets more links, and it gets more people interacting with the brand at the end of the day, which is what we really want. Sure, we want to get links from an SEO perspective, but we really want brand advocates out there that are on top of that. And hey, look, you've put together a book, now it's time to go on a book tour. So if you are a B2B oriented site, go out there and start contacting different podcasts in the B2B field. Every single one of those podcasts, for the most part, has something called show notes underneath them, right? So here's an example of the podcast that we did recently with Rod Niger of Yext, is his podcast show notes have a link back to Yext, which is a great link at the end of the day. So if you're taking the time to produce this content or a study or whatever it may be, go out there and do some podcasting. It'll be wonderful for you and for driving links. So what about data-driven content? Well, one thing that we do a lot of is the ability to take data and utilize that to put together how-tos, surveys, and really proprietary information at the end of the day. Because there's nothing I can't stand more than seeing an infographic that has a long list of sources at the bottom. I want to see one source. I want to see the study that we put together with proprietary data to tell a story. And here's an example of something that we did for I don't want to say small, but it's a beauty school chain that's only based in the state of Texas, which has 8 different locations. And we do a lot of content marketing for them, and I'll go through that in this overview. But we basically did a how to style your hair like the presidential candidates, how much it would cost, and how to do so. And we did some outreach around that. It was picked up on some different local blogs, et cetera, et cetera. Then it was picked up by thehill.com. And not only did The Hill pick it up, one of the most read political sites out there, But then the author of this post on the Hill is also a TV guest on Fox 5 News in DC. So she went on Fox 5 News and did a 5-minute segment about the piece of content that we did for our beauty school client about how to style your hair. And this is a win-win across the board. So once you see your infographic or your how-to as being the subject of a special on TV, you've won. And this was fantastic when it happened. Also, for our client For Rent, the one that we recently won an award for, we put together a cost analysis of all of the different houses and apartments in For Rent original series and how much they would cost, right? So we did outreach and we synced up with their PR team, because syncing up with PR, if you have the ability to, could be a great thing to do, because sometimes they'll have context that you don't have. And bloggers like to write about content, but journalists like to write about data from brands, which is a totally different thing. So in this case, we were able to work hand in hand with the PR team of our client and get this content and data featured and trending on BuzzFeed, on Refinery 29, on the Daily News, et cetera, et cetera. So again, if you have the opportunity, this is, again, going beyond SEO and links, if you can work with PR, it can be a win-win scenario. So if you put together your own data, journalists love it. Journalists love original data at the end of the day. It helps to position your company as being the source. You are the expert. Data scientists are readily available on the internet to work for you. Just go to some employment marketplaces and post a job of someone that you need a physicist to put together a study on different Star Wars weapons. You'd be surprised what the result is. And always have an expert to back you up. In this example, it actually started a fight on Reddit and on our client's website about whether or not Han Solo's blaster, which is the most powerful in the snapshot, was more powerful than an AT-AT. And we had the physicists that put this together back it up. That basically ended all those fights. So it was pretty amazing to see that happen. Here's another example of utilizing proprietary data. We did a comparison of all the ships and vehicles in sci-fi, put it out there in an infographic. It was picked up by CNET, Business Insider, Sci-Fi Channel. It trended for an entire day on Facebook. Pretty amazing stuff. Why? Because we took the time to put together original ideas, right? How can you do that? Well, by using proprietary data, again, you position yourself as a source for something. It's perfect for link reclamation. So one thing that happens when something goes viral is that people pick it up without mentioning your client sometimes and without linking to your client sometimes. So if you're putting together a campaign like that and a lot of sites pick it up, it's an opportunity to go out, ask for the link, and also to build a relationship with that person. Because when you're asking for the link, you're building a relationship with the journalist. That's your first line of communication. It's really up to you where to take it from there. It's great for PR, and it also gets your audience involved. So two tools that I really like are SurveyMonkey, which a lot of us probably, well, a lot of you probably have used in the past, and also Google Consumer Insights. Google Consumer Insights gives you the ability to launch a questionnaire or survey when someone's trying to watch a YouTube video, or someone is trying to read an article on a news site and they have to answer a couple of questions first. That's Google Consumer Insights. And it gives you the way to scale out data and questionnaires amongst a large sample in a very short amount of time and get an amazing amount of feedback from them and demographic information. Also, you have mail. One of the best marketing channels that you'll find at your company or on your client side is when you have the ability to integrate their email newsletter into your content strategy, right? So what we've done over the past couple of years with some of our clients is we've put together surveys, data, questionnaires, and sent them to their client base at the end, really. And what happens is we get a lot of feedback. We get a lot of answers specifically from this set that's worked with them previously, and their customers or clients feel included. So if you have the ability to blast out an email to your 500,000 subscribers at an e-commerce store and ask them about what shoes they're planning to buy next year, are they gonna buy Nike's, Reeboks, Adidas, or the Ball brand? Then get that information back and launch a study. Not only do you have proprietary info that no one else has, but you've also made your clients or audience feel included in your own process. And chances are, when you put out the results of that study in a nice graphic or whatever, people are going to share it. And here's an example of one that we did. I won't go through all of these, but this one was really interesting. So we did a survey for a client in the password management space and basically asked people if they use their personal emails to log into things that are work-oriented, or use their work email to log into things that are personal-oriented, or if they forwarded work email to personal addresses. I think it's 25% use personal email for work-related emails, and nearly 1 in 4, no, it was 16% admitted to sending work documents to a personal email account. And we timed this around some news around this subject matter, and it took off. Okay, so we talked about data, illustrating content, good PR, ebooks, et cetera, et cetera. One of the final things, I have 2 more concepts I want to go over, then we'll get into Q&A, is photos and tutorials. So in September of this year, Google put out basically a case study on the rise of how-to-oriented queries. The folks at Google said that there's been a 140% increase since 2004 on people searching for how to fix a toilet, how to change a light bulb, how to do this, do that. A lot of that has to do with the adoption of how-to videos with Google Home, Alexa, and Siri, right? So we're talking about natural language queries here. How do I do this, Google? How do I do that? Not change a light bulb, but hey, how do I change a light bulb? And then Google reads off how to do it, or gives you the best site to do so. So sorry, I just said the names of one of these personal assistants that are turned on. So anyway, we've seen a rise in that. And what we did for a beauty school client was, this is going back to 2016, I believe, we ended up hiring some local Dallas-oriented beauty bloggers and YouTube makeup artists to put together tutorials for our client. So this is one for Oval School, and some examples. First is how to do a Snapchat deer tutorial, which gets a lot of traffic. But then the second one that Jaleesa did was 6 winter natural hair care tips for dry hair. So as you see here, that's gotten 12,000 views, right? And that's 12,000 views on YouTube. We also transcribe all the video into tutorials where on the site where people can go through and see what to do and how to do it. I'll go through the numbers on that in a second. Another thing that we've done is we've helped them set up their YouTube channel. We've put together things like, it's a beauty school, right? So we've put together stories of how their students have gone on to get great jobs in the salon industry, and stories about the teachers at their school. Why? This helps them really, this helps take a lead and turn it into a student or a customer at the end of the day. And also kind of lets people know what they can expect when they go to the school. Also, we've done videos, or they've done videos on financial aid and stuff like that. And all of these have blog posts on their site, which basically match the content matter of the video. So these videos are great for lead nurturing. We use the clips on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. Then also integrate them into ad campaigns. And here's what we found. So when we compared our SEO traffic in 2017, this is November of 2017, so this is really recent information. Compared to November of 2016, we found a 430% increase in SEO traffic. And this is not going from like 1 to 4. We started out in the 300 to 400 people per day, and we've gone from getting about, we started out around 100 people per day to their blog, right? So, which got about 2,392 users over the month of November 2016. And in this month or this year, it's gotten 12,672 users only from SEO. And what we found is that people that read these tutorials have also filled out the lead form, turned in the customers, and if you search for these tutorials on Google or the titles, like how to do this or whatever beginner's guide to this kind of makeup, they rank #1 and they rank in the featured snippet or the box. So not only are we addressing a trend in what people are searching for, but we're answering questions using photos, using video, and using the media, giving people that visit the site the ability to pick one form of media over the other. What does this mean for this year? Well, when we saw this happening, I'm like, we're going to double down on this. So we're revamping the campaign for this particular school to focus on how-to tutorials in real-life situations. And in my mindset is that content for social is first, and then blog and SEO second. So we're going to optimize the content, but our mindset is that, hey, these photos need to really be incredible for Pinterest and other sites, because we want to get that pickup too. And you know, on Snap you have the ability to link back. On Instagram you're getting the ability to link back, so that also drives traffic. Final thing I want to go over is local guides and local content. So when I was first working with my friend Dennis over at Airbnb, we were doing some development work for them, and he was showing me the local guides that they were setting up, which I thought were amazing. Basically, what he was doing was he was finding local experts and photographers in specific areas and asking them to write about the area, take pictures, talk about businesses and stuff that people who didn't live there typically wouldn't know. So what I did was I took that same idea and I applied it to the beauty school that we work with in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, and did the same thing. So basically, on their landing page, we added all this information about the beauty history of Dallas, the beauty pageants and events in the area, links to those events, and different things that are culturally significant to their topic matter in the Dallas area, in the San Antonio area, in the Austin area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what were the results from that? That we saw more conversions on these pages. Of course, more traffic, more links, more results, local SEO through the roof, et cetera, but our conversion rate increased, which really blew me away because I was not expecting that. And that is a common fear, right? When producing content for landing pages, is that if you go outside of that conversion direction funnel, that you're going to negatively influence conversion. This positively influenced conversion. Why? I think because people saw that there was saw character in the company at the end of the day. And that's what content does. It tells a story. It's not just about getting links, it's not about getting ranking, but it only tells a story. Also tells a story. So we've also done the same thing for our apartment rental client, is we have local ambassadors or local guides in Austin, in New York, in Atlanta, and multiple cities across the US. And they will write about events, and they will write about different places to do things in that area. And they will highlight things that only people in that area really know. This helps, one, produce localized content and social proof that our client knows about that area. Two, they're connected with influencers. So a lot of these writers come from OpenTable, Curbed, Thrillist, et cetera, or they write on those publications as well. So they are real experts on the matter. And I know that people say that Google authorship is not around anymore, but I do believe from an SEO perspective, there's benefit, maybe not direct benefit, but there is overall natural benefit of having real authors that really know their stuff right on your site. And at the end of the day, we also reach out to these businesses and let them know they're featured on the site, and then they'll either link or share things socially. So that leads to my second poll, Jess, if you'd like to go ahead and launch that. Great. So would you like to learn more about how I or we or Foundation Digital can help you with your content marketing in 2018? Throwing myself out there. So you have three selections: yes, no, or I'm currently planning my 2018 strategy and I need to talk to Loren and the Foundation Digital team right now. So please take the time to fill out this poll, and looking forward to seeing all of you click number 3.
You're almost at 50%.
All right, 60, 70, 80.
All right, we're getting there. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna close it.
All right, awesome. Cool, all right. 55% want to talk. So I'll be following up an email and sending a copy of this webinar, which will also feature on YouTube and on the SEJ site to you after the fact as well. So next, I'll do the next slide. It's question and answer time. So we have about 15 minutes left. If you have any questions to do with what I went over in the presentation today, or content marketing, link building in general, please feel free to ask them right now. And Jess, I do not have access to the questions, so I think you're going to have to read the best ones to me.
No problem. I just sent you some.
Yeah, I can't.
Google Doc.
Can't see them because I'm doing the thing.
First question, should you update your blog posts from several years ago to stay relevant?
Yes, absolutely. So especially if you've seen a decline in traffic, and I'll tell you why. When searchers have the intent of finding information that's going to answer their question, and they find outdated information, they're less likely, first of all, they may get mad at you because you might be linking to broken pages or something that doesn't exist anymore, et cetera, et cetera. But they're also going to hit their back button really quickly. I do this a lot, is not only updating old information to make sure it's new and relevant, but also looking for opportunities where my clients or the sites that I'm working on might be ranking like number 4 through number 10, and trying to figure out, not only from a copy perspective, if that's the best SEO titles and headers and whatever, but seeing if the content on the landing page, on the blog post or whatever it may be, answers the intent of the user when they make that query, right? So now when you do that, typically it's good to really go through the entire post to see what has to be updated. What I would not recommend, and I've seen bloggers do this, is simply updating the date. Typically, when you update a post and you update the date, you see Google recrawl that post and sometimes rank it higher because you have updated content, material, maybe you fix some issues, whatever it may be. And there's also a, if you've updated the timestamp, there's a quality, there's a freshness component. They can see in your schema markup that you've updated at a certain time, et cetera, et cetera. It's beneficial across the board. It's beneficial from a user perspective, but I've seen people try to abuse this from an SEO tactic perspective. I've seen where bloggers have gone to their site and taken old posts from 2015, and all they've done is change the date, made it new, thinking that that's going to help them get more SEO traffic, when the exact opposite happened. I've seen, I don't know if it's a penalty or what, but I've seen dramatic decreases in Google traffic and ranking from people who have updated posts to make them current without updating the content. So just by updating the timestamp is not going to help you. But by updating the content, yes, absolutely. And in those seasonal examples were things that I do every year. I would recommend looking at maybe your top 20 referring pages on your site, starting out with them, seeing if they're old, like from 2004, 2010, and what you can do to update that. If they constitute updating, then go ahead and do it and look at the results. But you're going to appease Google and you're going to appease your visitors at the end of the day. Next question.
If you're the SEO professional, how do you get the content creator to understand the importance of SEO?
Yeah. So couple things. One, you just can't put a list of keywords and topics and expect someone to basically use osmosis to get that information in their head and create something that's perfect for SEO. I think that one thing I've learned over the years is I'm not a very organized or process-driven person, but process and practice leads to perfection, right? So by taking everything that's in your head in terms of SEO goals, and typically putting together content-driven examples, outlines, mock-ups of what you expect that to look like, what you expect it to sound like, the importance of utilizing natural text as opposed to just keywords over and over again. That kind of helps. But also give them feedback. It helps with writers to mark up something and send it back to them and just go through and explain, this is what I want. And then also to make it uniform across the board. So you do have a set process. So when you onboard new writers or content producers, they can follow that step by step and know what to do. Now, if you're in a scenario where, say, you may be consulting for a news publication or a sports publication, you may have an issue with writers kind of going about their own way and doing things that are outside of the box, and that can take a lot longer. It's more of an internal education system. But believe me, when a writer sees that they followed the steps and their post gets more traffic and gets featured on Google News or gets featured as a featured story within normal Google results, they are going to start following that process afterwards. So what I would do if you're working with a team of editorial, find someone that's open to making those changes, because you typically do get a lot of pushback with editorial. And then put together the data and show, hey, when you followed these steps, it led to this. When you did the same thing that you always do, it led to this. How can we get everyone here and get more views for all of you, which benefit you at the end of the day? So that's my answer there. Next question, please.
How can I use video to build brand for a B2B tech company?
Go to youtube.com/search engine journal. Seriously, what we do on SEJ is we interview influencers within the tech space or the search space, ranging from marketers to folks that work at Google, folks that work at Bing, folks that work in voice search, et cetera, et cetera. We host webinars like this, and this is going to be very meta, but this webinar that you're seeing right now is going to be on YouTube, and it's going to be transcribed. As we put on a podcast, Search Engine Nerds, which you see at the bottom, and everything else. So we host webinars as well. We make sure we get that on our YouTube channel. Now, once you put the content on your YouTube channel that's relevant to your space, because you might be working with a much smaller or particular group of folks, or you might be working with a much larger general broad stroke group of folks, but look at ways to market that video internally through emails, featuring on the sidebar of your site or your blog, integrating that with your most popular blog posts and embedding it accordingly. The more views you can get from those videos on the onset using non-YouTube oriented marketing, the better. And then if you do start to get a following on YouTube, YouTube has great advertising opportunities to advertise those videos, whether it be pre-roll or on third-party sites, et cetera, et cetera. And then also my final recommendation is that, and I was going to put this into this presentation, but I figured I had too many slides, is that another thing that I do at SEJ, or we do at SEJ, is I'll take a 40 to 60-minute video that we do for a podcast, we do for a Facebook Live, put it on YouTube. I'll put it on Facebook, uploading it to Facebook, not embedding the YouTube, but uploading. I'll also take a 9-minute and 59-second snippet of it and put that on my LinkedIn channel. Why? Because LinkedIn only allows, their max for a video is 10 minutes. So I'll take that 9-minute and 59-second snippet, upload it to LinkedIn, and then in the comment, I'll put for the full video, go to youtube.com/whatever to watch this entire video and subscribe. So tell people what to do and share it in almost every single social platform that you have. Another tip is use rev.com, rev.com, to transcribe your videos and turn them into blog posts, or at least the outline of a blog post. It's $1 a minute. So if you have a 30-minute video, it's $30. They'll transcribe it, you edit it, you're good, out the door. Next question, please.
What is a good strategy for creating content when you are in an industry that is targeted at a more serious audience?
Serious audience. So, a serious audience may be an audience like possibly investors, for example. We do some investment related content, and typically we find that not only investment related content, but content for companies that have recently IPO'd or therefore afterwards, we will put that content together and first of all, work with their email team and their social team, et cetera, because social media is not just about having fun, it's also about learning. But then also find some of the most other influential publications in that space to either do co-branded content together with, to do co-branded ebooks together with, to enter partnerships with. So one thing you can do to start out with is look at the different companies that either your company or your client has strategic partnerships with. If you're in the tech space or B2B or SaaS space, chances are they're a SaaS app for Salesforce, or maybe they work with other clients to bundle their services together. Maybe they have distribution partners. It's really a great place to start, because by utilizing that existing relationship, you can then leverage the list or presence that the other companies have without having to perform that outreach component of it, right? So at SEJ, for example, say we work with another blog, and then I get hired by SEJ and I have to do the ebook. Well, I'm going to do a co-branded ebook with this blog and put it out, or this company. So look for those opportunities. And then also, what I would say is that not everything has to be organic. You can look for sponsorship opportunities to co-sponsor a publication or to run an ad campaign and get organic benefit from that. So if, for example, we put together an ebook with an advertiser and other people write about it, they're going to link to us. Sure, that ebook might be the result of a placement that we paid for or someone else paid for, but when other people write about it, they're going to link back to you naturally. So I would look into that as well, especially if you're in B2B, tech, or financial. Do we have time for another question?
Yeah, we could do one more.
Okay.
How can we optimize for voice search?
Yeah, it's funny because that question is written in a completely how can we, how do we, everything else. And I think in that question you have the answer. It's really writing for the human being at the end of the day. Also, a lot of voice search is powered by featured snippets, or I've also asked oriented results in Google. So one thing Google's done with featured snippets is they have, by giving SEOs the ability to get traffic from featured snippets in Google, by writing with things like question answer, bullet point, et cetera, natural language, it basically changed the way that almost every SEO writes their content planning. And they're learning from that. So start writing for featured snippets. Start looking at tools like Answer the Public for natural ways that people are searching. When you do a query on Google, scroll down to the bottom and look at what people are also searching for, or related searches. Google's going to give you lots of how to, can I, what else, oriented queries. And just take the time to go through and start doing the who, what, when, where, why with your query box after you do a keyword search. So if I do a keyword search for SEO tools, and then I do something for what's the best SEO tools, Google's going, if I search for what, Google is probably going to fill in the best SEO tools, because they knew that I was searching for the topic matter. And that's where you really have to start, because they're doing a great job of pre-populating those search queries based upon user behavior. And that is what is going to help power your voice search strategy. So start there. And we've done some pieces on SEJ about this. So we'll be sure to send out, we just did an interview with Bing about voice search. So we'll send out that podcast to the list and to you individually, Jess, if you can get the contact information as well. So I think that's going to be it. Thanks very much. It's the top of the hour. If you have any other questions, I'll be sure to answer them in an email and follow up accordingly. And thanks so much for attending today's SEJ Marketing Think Tank with yours truly. After the presentation is over, we're going to be serving a quick little survey for you to fill out to make our webinars better. And for a reminder, again, we'll be serving this to you on YouTube, our Search Engine Nerds podcast for the audio, and also on the SEJ blog in the future. And feel free to hit me up at Loren Baker and check out Foundation Digital. Thank you very much.